Alrighty. Good evening, football fans, or if you're on the East Coast, good morning. Depending on where you are, it's either Tuesday, November 4th or Wednesday, November 5th, 2025. Welcome to the Week 11 college football television schedule and the announcers for every game coming up this week. Now, a quick rundown of the schedule. We had two games that were on tonight. We've got two more games on Wednesday, two more on Thursday, and five on Friday before we jump into the full Saturday schedule. And I gotta say what's up to my peeps. Joey and Anna, how y'all doing? Alright, I'm a little late today getting this schedule out, but I'm gonna get this one out, and afterwards on another video we'll take a look at the NFL playoff standings going into week 10. So that's going to be coming up after this video, so stay tuned. Like, comment, and subscribe to my channel, ring the bell, and get notified every time I go live. And here we go with the Week 11 college football television schedule and the announcers for every game this week. Starting off with the two games that were on earlier tonight. Both games started at 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific. ESPN2 had Miami of Ohio at Ohio with Clay Matvick and Chase Daniel. And CBS Sports Network at that same time had Massachusetts at Akron with Jordan Kent and Logan Ryan. Now to the two games on Wednesday, both at 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific. ESPN2 will have Northern Illinois at Toledo with Jay Alter and Rocky Boyman. And ESPNU will have Kent State and Ball State with Matt Schumacher and Dustin Fox. Then on Thursday, both games will start at 7:30 Eastern, 4:30 Pacific. On ESPN, it's UTSA at USF. That's Texas San Antonio at South Florida with Matt Berry and Tom Luginbill. And on ESPN2 at 7:30 Eastern, 4:30 Pacific is Georgia Southern at Appalachian State with Courtney Lyle and Renee Ingogila. Then we have five games on Friday, two of them starting at 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific. ESPN2 has Harvard at Columbia with Eric Freedy and Jack Ford. And on ESPNU, it's Delaware State at Morgan State with Tiffany Green and Jay Walker. At 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific on FS1 is Houston at UCF with Connor Onion and Mark Helfrich. On Fox at 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific is Northwestern at number 19 USC. Now these rankings will reflect those of the college football playoff. This game will be called by Jason Benetti and Robert Griffin III. Oh, it's been a pretty chill day. I just didn't have any energy trying to get these videos up because I was supposed to do my NFL recap today, but I'm going to push that to tomorrow. But yeah, it's been a pretty chill day overall. Alright, so again at 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific on Fox, it's Northwestern at number 19 USC with Jason Benetti and Robert Griffin III. And once again, the rankings will reflect those of the college football playoff rankings, which I will get into tomorrow as well. And then the last game on Friday is also at 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific on ESPN. And that's Tulane at Memphis with Anish Sharaf and Andre Ware. Now we come to Saturday. You'll have 8 games at 12 noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific. And then you'll have 4 games at 1 p.m., another at 2, another at 2:30, and then you'll have 5 games at 3 p.m. Eastern, 12 noon Pacific. All right, started off with the early afternoon portion of the Saturday schedule. ABC has number 7 BYU at number 8 Texas Tech with Chris Fowler and Kirk Herbstreit. Rare that they do a noon game because they're usually on Saturday Night Football. I'm looking to get the NFL recap out hopefully in the morning, so around about 9 a.m. my time, which would be 8 a.m. Pacific. Around that time, I'll try and get it out then. On Fox's Big Noon Saturday, it's number 2 Indiana at Penn State with Gus Johnson and Joel Klatt. ESPN has number 5 Georgia at Mississippi State with Dave Pasch and Dusty Dvorak. ESPN2 has James Madison at Marshall with Roy Philpott and Sam Acho. ESPNU has Southern Miss at Arkansas State with Lowell Galindo and Aaron Murray. On the ACC network, it's SMU at Boston College with Chris Cotter and Max Brown. On CBS Sports Network, it's Temple at Army with Dave Ryan and Adam Brenneman. And on TNT, you'll have Colorado at West Virginia with J.B. Long and Mike Golick Jr. Then at 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific on BTN, it's number 1 Ohio State at Purdue with Jeff Levering and Jake Butt. Streaming on SEC Network Plus at 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific is the Citadel at number 6 Ole Miss with Dave Neal and Fozzie Whitaker. And then you'll have 2 additional games on ESPN Plus. The first is Bowling Green at Eastern Michigan with Michael Reggie and Michael Kavanaugh. And then the other game is Missouri State at Liberty, which has no broadcast team announced for that one. Then at 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific on ESPN Plus is UAB at Rice with Sean Kenny and Forrest Connolly. Then at 2:30 Eastern, 11:30 a.m. Pacific on FS1, Maryland at Rutgers, Noah Reid and Robert Smith. And then you'll have 5 games streaming on ESPN Plus at 3 p.m. Eastern, 12 noon Pacific. Charlotte at East Carolina with Patrick Kennis and Reggie Walker. Then you'll have Tulsa at Florida Atlantic with AJ Ricketts and Patrick Murray. And then the other 3 games, Florida International at Middle Tennessee State, Jacksonville State at Texas El Paso, and Louisiana Tech at Delaware. Those 3 games have no broadcast teams announced. Now to the late afternoon portion of the schedule. You'll have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 games at 3:30 p.m. Eastern, 12:30 p.m. Pacific. Then you're going to have 4 games at 4 p.m. Let me get that off of there. 2 games at 4:30, 1 game at 5, and another at 6. On ABC at 3:30 p.m. Eastern, 12:30 p.m. Pacific is number 3 Texas A&M at number 22 Missouri with Joe Tessitore and Jesse Palmer. On the Home Depot Big Ten on CBS, it's number 9 Oregon at number 20 Iowa with Brad Nessler and Gary Danielson. On Fox, it's Iowa State at TCU with Connor Onion and Mark Helfrich. On ESPN, it's Syracuse at number 18 Miami with Bob Wischusen and Louis Riddick. ESPN2 has Kansas at Arizona with Mike Monaco and Kirk Morrison. And on CBS Sports Network, it's Duke at Connecticut with Rich Waltz and Robert Turbin. Then at 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific on the SEC Network, you'll have Auburn at number 16 Vanderbilt with Taylor Zarzour and Matt Stinchcomb. On ESPNU is South Dakota State at South Dakota with Chucky Kempf and Darius Walker. And then you'll have 2 games streaming on ESPN Plus at 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific. including Georgia State at Coastal Carolina and Kennesaw State at New Mexico State, and there are no broadcast teams announced for those two games. At 4:30 p.m. Eastern, 1:30 p.m. Pacific on the CW is Stanford at North Carolina with Tom Brenneman and Will Blackman. And on BTN, it's number 23 Washington at Wisconsin with Rhett Lewis and Yogi Roth. Streaming on ESPN Plus at 5 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Pacific is Texas State at Louisiana. There is no broadcast team announced for that game. And then rounding out the late afternoon portion of the schedule at 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Pacific on FS1 is Air Force at San Jose State with Eric Collins and Spencer Tillman. Now to the evening portion of the schedule, you'll have 3 games at 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific. You'll have 4 at 7:30. You have a game at 9, a game at 9:30, another game at 10, and the last game of the night will be at 11 p.m. On ESPN at 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific is Wake Forest at number 14 Virginia with Mark Jones and Roddy Jones. On ESPN2, it's California at number 15 Louisville, Dave Fleming and Brock Osweiler. On the ACC network at 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific is Florida State at Clemson, Wes Durham and Steve Addazio. Then at 7:30 p.m. Eastern, 4:30 p.m. Pacific on ABC's Saturday Night Football, it's LSU at number 4 Alabama, Sean McDonough and Greg McElroy. Then you'll have Notre Dame football on NBC as number 10 Notre Dame hosts Navy with Noah Eagle and Todd Blackledge. On the SEC network, it's Florida at Kentucky with Tom Hart, Jordan Rogers, and Cole Kubelic. And on CBS Sports Network, it's Nevada at Utah State with Chris Lewis and Randy Cross. At 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific on Fox, it's Nebraska at UCLA, Tim Brando and Devin Gardner. At 9:30 p.m. Eastern, 6:30 p.m. Pacific on FS1 is UNLV at Colorado State, Dan Hellie and Petros Papadakis. On the CW, at 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific is Sam Houston at Oregon State, with Ted Robinson, Ryan Leaf, and Nigel Burton. And the final game of the night is at 11 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Pacific on Spectrum Hawaii and Mountain West Conference Digital. And that's San Diego State at Hawaii. And there is no broadcast team announced for that game. All right, folks, there's the Week 11 college football television schedule and the announcers for every game coming up this week, including the 2 games that were on tonight. All right, I'm going to go upload this, and I will be back with a look at the NFL playoff races entering Week 10 of the 2025 NFL season. Like, comment, and subscribe to my channel, ring the bell, and get notified every time I go live. Big Al for now, signing off. Thanks for watching. Enjoy the pigskin, and I will be back shortly. Peace out.